Hands up if you're a founder. Hi? A little bit higher? Cool, me too, hi, nice to meet you all. So my name's Joe, I am 27. I founded a business called WOAW. WOAW builds personal brands for founders and CEOs. People like Tej Lalvani, Sari Davies, James Caan from Dragon's Den, those kind of people, all the way up to pre-seed founders, all the way through to unicorn founders. So I've got a lot of experience in building personal brands for founders. I've also got a lot of experience being a founder, because I didn't just found that. I ended up taking 6 months off of work. I hired a CEO to run the business that I started, and then I thought it'd be fun to start 3 more businesses in the space of 3 months. And I want to start loads more. So I find a lot of fun in the process of starting something, getting it to a point where it can be sustained and grown by other people, and then I look for something new to start. So, do you want to hear something crazy? I heard one yeah. I was hoping for like a little bit more of a yeah. Yeah? Okay, I'm going to start again. You want to hear something crazy? Yeah. You want to hear something wild? Yeah. You want to hear something absolutely nuts? Yeah. That was good. That was good. Good energy. So the crazy thing is, I would say a couple of months ago, I was sat at an event by a girl called Hannah who has her own business. And it was a really good, inspiring event. She got everybody involved. There was a real sense of community in the room. And I thought, oh, I need me a bit of that. So I thought, you know what? I'm gonna start something. I'm gonna do an event. And merely by being there and meeting all of those amazing people and feeling a little bit less lonely as a founder just by virtue of who I was with, I thought, I'm going to start an event. I'm going to throw an event. And so I did. And so I started an event, and I threw an event, and some of you may have seen on LinkedIn that the event was a lot of fun. We had a lot of great guests, and it was a really good vibe. And then somebody who was at that event thought, this is kind of cool. I want me a bit of that. That man is called Joe Wolf. And so then he decided to throw an event, to throw a community. He actually thought, you know what, there's a real gap in the founder space in that it's really, really, really shit sometimes, and it's really difficult, and it's really lonely. I wonder what would happen if you got a few founders together. I wonder what would happen if you found a really nice, bright space and gathered people in a room, and now you will know what has happened. So my question to you is, I wonder what happens in 3 weeks' time. I wonder what happens in 4 weeks' time. I wonder which person here is going to throw the next event. I wonder which person here is going to do the next big thing. I wonder which person here is going to take the inspiration they get from simply being here and launch something really cool. So that is how I want to kick things off. And now on to personal branding. So what is personal branding? Personal branding is the buzzword used for the term reputation. It's literally, all it means is what people think of you. It's the same thing as reputation. That's what a personal brand is. However, when we talk about personal branding, we typically refer to the process in which you actively, intentionally build your personal brand, specifically online, often on LinkedIn, sometimes on Instagram, on TikTok, but we're going to focus this on LinkedIn. Now, all of you already know the power of reputation because you're about to get investment off the back of your great reputation. You've managed to bring amazing people together in a room off the back of your reputation. You keep getting brands to send you more and more stuff off the back of your reputation. So we all know the power of reputation. We all know the power of personal brand. The process of building it intentionally is just class. And I'll explain what I mean by just class through a personal example. Okay, we are 8 months into setting up WOAW. I'm miserable. I've got no money. All my friends have jobs. They've all got a social life through their jobs. They're all making money. And I'm just sat at home on my couch thinking, geez, cool, I guess that's time. I guess it's time to pack it in. I've given it a shot. 8 months of starting a business, being a founder, and I've got not very far. So what I did was I took to LinkedIn and had a bit of a whinge. But I did so in a way which was a little bit more professional than just a whinge. I called it the lonely reality of being a 21-year-old entrepreneur. But yeah, it was a whinge. I spoke about how lonely it was, I spoke about how difficult it was, and LinkedIn'd, right? And it caught fire. Loads of people liked it, loads of people commented on it. All of a sudden, there were all these people who I'd never heard of who were commenting saying, hey, love the article, here's my view. One person commented, a guy called David, never met him before. He said, it's no different from when you're 42. Doesn't matter if you're young or old. This shit's tough. Why don't we meet for coffee? So I was like, cool, you know what? I'm about to pack this stuff in anyway. I've already started the process of applying for and getting rejected by jobs. Cool, let's meet for coffee. So I met the guy for coffee, and he very quickly became a kind of mentor to me. And then I became a bit of a mentor to him through the lens of personal branding. Here's what you can do. And he was saying, here's what you can do. And then a few weeks after that, I kind of reflected, this random human has now come into my life just because I had a whinge online, just because I built my personal brand, because I created content that had a life of its own and brought somebody new into my life. And then something crazy happened. He said to me, Joe, I've got someone I want to introduce you to. He's a friend of mine. You might get along. There might also be the opportunity for you guys to do business together. I'm not making any promises, and I stopped him. I was like, bro, I'm literally about to pack this stuff in. Any introduction that could lead to any kind of business for me, I'm in. Who is it? He goes, this guy called James Caan from Dragon's Den. Have you heard of him? I was like, have you heard of it? What do you mean? The guy from what? And so I then went on a nuts rampage of oh my God, I'm actually going to speak to James Caan from Dragon's Den. My business is about to fold, and I've now got an opportunity. Anyway, 4 years later, still working with James Caan. All off the back of a one conversation, one relationship, which came off the back from one LinkedIn post. Building your personal brand is a founder's secret weapon. If you're trying to raise funding, if you're trying to build hype so that every engineer wants to join your startup, if you're trying to do something great, which all of you are simply by virtue of the fact of taking a different path and starting your own thing, then building your personal brand is an excellent way of doing so. A quick question for you. Can you raise your hands if you've posted on LinkedIn in the past month? Wonderful. And keep them up in the past week? Okay, cool. That gives me a good understanding. So, look, the idea here is that I'm going to keep this part fairly short and then open it up to questions and hopefully deliver some tangible stuff that you can actually, do. But just before that, the first business I started was called WOAW. The second one is called Workshops by WOAW. It's a professional coaching, training business, more for employees than it is for founders. But I'm boring little bits to talk to you here today. And the one thing that we try to do at Workshops by WOAW is make sure people actually do something with the information. It's very easy to just sit and digest and think, oh yeah, I'm gonna make a content calendar and I'm gonna post 7 days a week. It just doesn't happen. So if I can get 60% of you, 70% to post on LinkedIn in the next 24 hours, I will consider this brief moment in time when I've been speaking up here a success. But before I do that, I'm going to share, 3 key things about building a personal brand on LinkedIn. First of all, look, it's scary for a bunch of different reasons. You don't want to look like an idiot. You don't want to get rinsed in your group chat. And I get that. And it is cringeworthy. It can really feel cringeworthy. And so what I say and what we say at Workshops by WOAW is fuck the fear of looking cringe, because that's what stops us. It's just that before you post, right? I get it. We've all been there. We've all probably been there quite recently as well, right? Fuck it. Who cares? So what? You get ripped to shreds in the group chat. What are they actually making fun of? They're making fun of the fact that, again, you have taken a different path. Rather than being silent on LinkedIn, you're now posting. Just like rather than getting the corporate job, you've now started your own business. So what's funny about that? Haha, yeah, nice one, cool. Next. So fuck the fear of looking cringe. Literally, who gives a shit? That's the first thing. The second thing is just I almost don't want to say it because it's just dead. It's so overused. It's But this idea of consistency, it's dead, it's boring, it's vanilla, but it works. You show up consistently. The way you build reputation is not by doing one stand-out, piece of social media content, Melody Boston, but it's by doing it consistently, right? It's by showing up every week and doing the thing that you do best, so that people are continuously reminded by the fact that you are that guy, you are that girl, you are that person who does that thing, so that when they need that thing, they come to you. So consistency is massive. And link that to this idea of accountability, having somebody to be consistent with, that's what makes all the difference. Doing the stuff is difficult. You know, when you're struggling to get that client across the line, whilst your first employee is just going a bit rogue on you, and then you've got something happening at home, like shit's tough, and then you have to post on LinkedIn, it's like, come on, give me a break. But when you know that at 9 a.m. on Thursday, Joe is posting something, well then it changes things a little bit because you made a commitment to Joe that you're going to post. So what I'm now gonna do is invite a couple of people up here for a photo. It might be a couple, it might be more than a couple, it might be all of you, but there's one simple rule. The rule is that if you're in the photo, which will be live on my LinkedIn within the next hour, you are committing to publicly post on your own account within the next 24 hours. That's it. It's as simple as that. You know, I said this will be a success for me if a bunch of you guys post. This is how we're going to make it happen. And I'll go a step further. I'm not just going to ask you to stand up here and be in a photo. After this and before the Q&A, we're going to create 1,000 different posts that you can borrow. You know that scene from Oprah? Is it Oprah? Yeah, which is like, everyone, you get a car, you get a car, you get a car, you get a car. Check under your seats, and everyone checks under their seats, and shit me, it's a car key. Everyone gets a car, right? We can, you know, I can stick around until every single person has the post that they are posting tomorrow. You just need to write it. But I'll give you the narrative. It's simple. We'll do it together. So I'm now going to open the floor. We have Melody at the back, ready to take the photo. I know Joe's about to jump up and stand with me. So my question is, who else is being in the photo? Who else is committing to posting within the next 24 hours? Let's go, let's go. Give them a round of applause, please. Round of applause to everyone who's going to post. Round of applause, 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 round of applause. If you go at the back, actually, if you go at the back, and then if you do one here on your phone afterwards, is that right? Right, okay, team. What I'm going to do, Melody, if you actually go over there by the plant pot. Okay, we need some people closer in the middle, so I'm going to be down here, and I need people to join me exactly, like that. I'm just going to direct the photo with Melody. Oh, sorry. Wicked. Can I just have a quick look at the framing? Thank you. Because it's a good chance that it's, yeah. Okay, it needs to be done on the phone. Melody, could I have your phone, please? You got... Team, you've got to go in a little bit. Oh, wow, I'm loving this. Woo! Let's try and go a little bit closer. Jordan, grab the Lonely Founders Club, please, and hand it to the front to Daniel. If you can give that to Daniel, I'm going to sit next to Daniel. Okay, so if you do it like this, we've got to have space in between there and there, which means if anyone goes past that guy, they need to get closer. And then,
you need a gap on each side?
Yeah, we need a gap on each side, just for the framing. And we can't have any of this stuff in. Pardon? No, it's perfect. Lonely. Oh, sorry. Cool. Oh. Right. So what we're going to do, Chloe's going to give us a countdown and then take 17 photos all in one go. In 3, 2, 1, smile. And now this time, we're going to get a countdown, but something about palms open. Apparently that means friendly. 3, 2, 1, palms open. Hey! And now everyone, point at Joe. Whoa, 3, 2, 1, hey! Cool, and then the final one, a little bit of a jazz hands. 3, 2, 1, jazz hands. Away. Cool, right. Okay, team. Can we get a round of applause for every brave volunteer? Round of applause, round of applause, round of applause. Cool.
And that's Joe's personal collection.
So, Joe Wolf's gonna sort that. Right, guys, we are 15 minutes in to me speaking. Hey, listen, I'll level with you. I've never done it before. That was a lot of people. This is great. So before we cut to Q&A, maybe in 5 minutes, 10 minutes, I made a promise. The promise was a bit of an Oprah moment. So what I want somebody to shout out their first name and then shout out an idea they have if they have one. And if not, shout out your first name if you want an idea, and I will give one to you. Let's start with people who have an idea. So shout out your first name so everyone can hear it, and then I'll point at you, and then tell you what your idea is for a post. So you're going to suggest it, and I'll help you tweak it. I'll make it a narrative so it's easy for you to write now. And then if you don't have an idea, then you'll just shout out your name, and I'll give you one. 3, 2, 1. Who's going to take it? Who's going to take it? Who's going to take it? Not very clear, is it? Okay. Here's an example. Joe Wolf sits there and he thinks, all right, I quite fancy sharing my idea for my post that I'm going to post on LinkedIn within 24 hours. So he's going to shout out Joe. No, he's going to shout out Joe Wolf, his full name. That makes more sense. Then I'm going to say, cool, take it away. And he's going to share within 10 seconds, 15 seconds, 30 seconds what his idea is. And I'm going to help him tweak it live from around. And then he's got his post. And if nobody has an idea already for what their post could be, I will just shout out a name. Shout out your name. And then I will give you the Oprah moment. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Right, Josh Curtin, go on.
I'm not a lonely founder anymore.
Okay, cool. So, not... Pardon? No, so you've got a co-founder. How many co-founders? I've met him. Okay, so my co-founder's going to be pissed. That's funny. I like that. And also, I'm not a lonely founder anymore. And what are you trying to achieve with this post? And if you don't know from this post, what are you trying to achieve by building a personal brand? And if you don't know, I can take it. Cool. You want more people to know about the great work that you're doing. It's New Lane, right? Is that? Raising around. Okay, great. So you're raising around. Cool. So we're going to run with that. The commercial value is raising a round of investment. In other words, how do you do that? Well, you look the part to investors. How do you look the part to investors? Well, you need to be showing that you're doing something. What you can't be doing is, hi, can I get some money, please? It doesn't work. What you need to be doing is like, yo, this is just happening now. This is just happening now. This has just happened. And this is a really great way of doing it. So the purpose is raising around. Cool. So the narrative of your post could be around the fact that you could, this is a bit cheeky, you could take the fact that you have a co-founder, but actually it doesn't matter. Because having a co-founder gives you a certain degree of stability, gives you a certain degree of comfort, but ultimately you're still a founder, you're still risking your own finances, you're still sacrificing your own relationships, you're still X, Y, Z. And so even in a world in which you have a business partner, it's still bloody difficult and it still takes a toll. However, when you are surrounded by people going through the exact same thing in a room, whether they're co-founders or solo founders, there's a kind of aura, there's a warmth in the room of people that just get it. So now not only do you have one person who you can share the specifics and the nitty-gritty with, you actually have 30 plus people who get it. And then you can end with that line, obviously shout out to Joe, not me, that Joe. And then, thanks to that event, I'm not a lonely founder anymore. And I would make a pun on the name. It doesn't have to be a pun, but I would be really clear on the name of this thing, the Lonely Founders Club, and I would basically say, look, guess I'm not a lonely founder anymore. And that kind of guess I'm not a lonely founder anymore, it's like, oh, shit, nice. Then you get the like. That's one. Who's next? Yep.
The art of asking. If you don't ask, you don't get.
Cool, love it. What have you asked for recently?
I'll just turn up to a business and be like, can I speak to the CEO?
Great, I love it. Give me a specific. Tell me exactly what happened.
Okay, this wasn't actually a positive outcome because I was leaving the next day, but I did go up to Google in Tel Aviv and asked to speak to the CEO, but they weren't in the office.
Great, how old are you?
26.
So here's what you don't do as a 26-year-old looking for a job at Google. Knock on the door of their Israel HQ or their Tel Aviv office and XYZ. And then you can just and then immediately say, here's why I did it. 1, I wanted to do X. 2, I recognize the fact that being turned down is actually a positive thing because it can really build your resilience. And 3, another thing. And then because it's a post on what you don't do. And why are you doing this? What's the reason for you posting this?
The majority have actually got me to places. There's a couple that haven't, but I'm saying it's just
Great.
that
Great.
if you don't ask.
I love it. So you've got the kind of framework. Here's what you don't do as a 26-year-old right? And then you've got the kind of fleshing it out of the 1, 2, 3, or the bullet points, or just the paragraph, and then you end on, because everyone thinks like, oh, okay, this is going to be another classic story of, oh, I shouldn't have done this, and then it turned out amazing. But this isn't one of those. So it almost catches people a little bit off guard. It didn't work, full stop. However, what did work was the 17 other times that I tried this. And so what? 18 times, so what? 1 in 17 doesn't work? I'm okay with that. I would and then you can, it's kind of a motivational piece of encouraging other people to do it. You've got to be careful when you try to kind of motivate or inspire online, because that could seem, if that's your thing and you're really comfortable with that, amazing. If you're less comfortable with that, then motivate and inspire simply through what you have done. So rather than saying you should get up and always ask, otherwise who knows, say what I do is I always get up and I ask, so you can still inspire. It's just a little bit less preachy. And if you're not so comfortable, that's a good way of doing it. Love it. Pleasure. Cool. Next. Jordan Dawson, come on.
But I have no idea what's right.
Okay, cool. Does anybody, before I do, does anybody want to throw Jordan an idea? A post idea?
Well, I guess mine could be like a bit of heaven's prayer.
Mm-hmm.
What I was going to say is that, so I've got a tech company, and most of the people I interact with are like tech people, like quite deep tech people. But it was nice, even like the session we had before, I was like, well, I struggle with cold sets.
Mm-hmm.
But everyone in this room pretty much has to do cold sets.
Love it.
It's like a problem that many people have just by being a founder. So that was going to be my post, and I was saying like something along those lines, that there's lots of synergies between just running a business.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, it doesn't matter what it's in.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So a couple of thoughts. First of all,
But it's the same for you, because you're a designer, right? I don't know how many people in here are designers, but like you're probably quite like in with the creative side.
What's happening?
How do I sum it up? I do a lot of custom artwork. So I customise footwear, especially, but I've transferred that onto other products, including clothing, cars, watches, basketballs, and then going into different sports. I'm also a fine artist as well, so I do portraits, pencil. So I wouldn't really, I'm just myself an artist. I don't label myself as
Mhm.
but
Cool.
say designer or
wicked. So I'm going to share some thoughts, and then we're going to finalise bits, and then we're going to move to the Q&A. Going to do that faster than I was going to. Evan, I love the idea for a post. The one thing I would suggest, it's really good, 100% do it. The one thing I would suggest on LinkedIn is that if you're doing this through your personal account, which you are, you have the opportunity to talk as a person as opposed to a company, right? And I would leverage that. I would make as much use of that as possible. So words that fit into kind of business jargon, or words that would work really well, words that mean a lot, like synergy, but perhaps also mean kind of more corporate-y stuff, just drop it. It helps, because the more human you sound, the easier it is to read, the more it feels like the author is talking to you, and the better it is. So, final few things. I'm not going to ask anyone. I'm just going to shout some ideas at you so you guys can take them, because I know a lot of you came up here, and then we're going to go for a Q&A. Let me just check the time. Cool. So, okay, more ideas. One, you came to an event, you got to try Tasty Mates for the very first time, and it's innovative and it's great, and it's cool to see people doing something different in a world, something about vegan, something about the packaging that you like, something about the narrative of doing it with mates, something about being a lonely founder, linking to that, right? So there's that. There's the idea of simply the one person that you've met today. Sam, you mentioned you met James, right? You guys, great, there's a post there, grab a photo of the two of you. Was there anything specific you learned? Or was it simply the fact that you guys met through being here? That is enough. I would think carefully about why you're posting this. You want people to hear about your investment. So maybe post about the investment. Post about the fact that we caught up, we haven't seen each other for a while. Talk about the fact that you met Mr. Dan Lee for the first time, or you got to catch up with Dan. And it was really interesting what he said about fundraising, because you know, now that you're at a point with your current raise where you've really started to see the momentum, you actually started to think a little bit differently about what it's like to raise. So all of a sudden, you're not doing the, hey, give me money, please. You're doing the, hey, by the way, we're out here. We've got all the momentum in the world. Come on, let's go. By the way, we're raising. Shh. So then the people who see that, you're not saying, hey, we're raising. You're saying, hey, yeah, so I was chatting to Dan. Hey, it was great. And what he said really challenged me because, you know, now that we've got the momentum of our raise already, so the person reading that is like, oh, shit me. I wonder what he means by momentum. Let me message him. So there's that. There's also the photo that I will have posted. There's also photos with this. The final thing I would say to you is if you're posting on LinkedIn, take the photo. Always take the photo, even if you don't do it then. So I'm going to wrap up there and a couple Q&As. Is that right? 5 minutes? Q&As is on personal brand. Q&As is on other stuff. I'll try to be helpful and make things relevant. Does anybody have a question? Yeah.
What is your best tip for leveraging ChatGPT when it comes to making posts?
Best tip for leveraging ChatGPT.
Sometimes it's really shit.
So I wouldn't use it to bulk create your content. I would use it to do the linguistic part for you, the poetic part for you, the research part for you. For example, if you want to make a point on how many people were in a room, and you don't just want to say there were too many to count, you want to make it a little bit better. So rather than saying too many to count, you say there were 1,000. Now that makes it better, but I mean 1,000, you know, what makes it really good is if you say packed the Wembley arena full of people. But you can't do that because the capacity is different. But if you know it's 1,000 people, you ask ChatGPT, help me visualize 1,000 people, give me 7 examples. For example, it's a stadium. So now you have, right? That's how I would use it. Well, that's how I use it. Cool. Zach?
Yeah, what are your thoughts on a personal brand for a business like Monzo's incredible brand on LinkedIn?
Sorry?
As in the voice of the business personal brand. So, you know how Monzo is unbelievable, the way they communicate on LinkedIn. We all have our own businesses.
Yep.
People post from that business account on LinkedIn versus our personal brand, but in a more communicative way.
Yep.
Pros and cons.
If you're targeting people using ads right now on LinkedIn, you can do so on a company page. You can't do so on a personal page. That's a pro and a. Look, this is age-old debate around brand building for your business versus through the lens of an individual. I think they're both great. I think it is a lot easier for everybody here to cut through the noise with a personal brand just because you've already got a lot of people who like you. And I'll keep it simple, but there's a lot more to that answer, but my view is it's a lot easier. You're going to cut through a lot faster. You can absolutely build the company brand, and that's going to be really good. Probably going to take a little bit longer and be a little bit more difficult. Cool. A couple more questions. Yep.
How conscious are you of like best practices like timing and stuff like that when it comes to posting?
Really good question. If you post once every week or once every few days, I would try to post in the morning. I would try to post on like a Tuesday or like not a Sunday evening, right? Just think about when are people going to be seeing your post, and when it lands on their newsfeed for the first time, where are they? Are they with their family, checking their phone just before, you know, a family meal, or are they somewhere else? And so Sunday, nah. Monday, Tuesday, whoa. Right, so there's that. If you're going a little bit like kind of, I won't say unhinged because that's not kind to myself, but if you're going out there in the way that I've been doing on LinkedIn, posting like up to 3 times a day, I don't care because ultimately I'm just not gonna stall anything. So it depends on frequency, but if you're not posting really, really often, yeah, try to do it in the mornings. Okay, a couple more quick questions. Anybody?
Yeah, I post probably like 3 or 4 times a week.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of my interactions are with people who I either know or friends, and I post about entrepreneurship and like growing a business. How do I get to more of my potential buyers?
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like there's like a disparity between that and like almost building like the brand of myself, where I can get to the buyers or potential buyers easier than just like my network.
So I'll answer it directly and then in a fluffy analogy, and then I'm going to hand over to Joe. Direct answer is you need to create content for the people you're trying to reach. It's as simple as that, right? The analogy is if you're out here making fruit salads, right, but the people you're attracting actually hate fruit, they just don't eat fruit. What they love is
It doesn't get interaction.
but it doesn't get, okay, so then you need to, there's a few things. You can growth hack it, i.e., for example, my brother is now solely trying to focus on lawyers with his personal brand on LinkedIn. That's his business, is now rebranded just for lawyers. So what he's not doing is talking about, here are 5 nutritional benefits that you, as somebody in the city or as somebody who's a lawyer, might benefit from, because lawyers don't have time to read that. They don't care. What he is doing is saying, having trained 100 lawyers, no, having trained 100 time-poor, high-achieving lawyers, I've learned a thing or two about what they struggle with most. Now, that's got my attention as a lawyer, right? However, you asked, how do you get their attention in the first place? So what do I do as Big Ben's little brother? I tag 3 of my lawyer friends, and they like the post, and now their network sees, because now Clifford and Chance is on their newsfeed, and now Cushman and Wakefield is on their newsfeed, and now insert other law companies on there. So there's little bits like that, but it all comes down to, am I creating stuff for them? And so the analogy is, if they don't like fruit, they do like sweets, talk about sweets. But not like the fluffy, here's how you can do, but like really try to get into their head. And if you can't, invite one out for coffee. And if they don't want to meet you, Google what are the problems that lawyers have, or so on and so forth. Team, so to finalize, it's been wonderful. Thank you for the warm welcome. Building a personal brand is a really exciting thing to do. The reason I've called it I found a secret weapon is because people act as if it's just not here. But there's so much opportunity. It doesn't matter what industry you're in, because all it is your reputation. Your business can be improved by your reputation. Your ability to fundraise can be improved by your reputation. Your ability to win clients, to win team, can be improved by your reputation. In other words, your personal brand. But you've got to start somewhere, and you've got to stay consistent. Team, I will see your post within the next 24 hours on LinkedIn. Mine will go live very shortly. Thank you so much. Joe, over to you. Wonderful.
Cool. Joe, if you don't know that I'm going to say this, but he's going to hang around for another 20 minutes or so. If you've got any questions for him, you're not in a rush, right?
No, I'm here. I'm chilling.